Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from frigid, positively cold for the season, Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking about a recent court ruling.
We do like our courts.
About the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Yes.
Pastafarianism.
The fliegende Spaghetti Monster. I was starting in German.
Wow, no, that was good.
I had sort of one of the words, maybe.
No, that was good.
Yeah,
I can tell.
Yeah. You would know.
Woo, doggy. Good stuff coming from Dan Beecher.
Anyway, here we go. We'll be talking about that later. The FSM. All you Pastafarians out there may be some news for you.
Oh, not good news. So you're going to want to stick around for that.
Yeah. But first, before we dive into that, let's dive into some things, some stories.
Yeah. So, Dan.
Yes.
I think it's time for a giant cross update.
Oh.
Or continuation of story.
Update.
This is not the only country in the world, Dan, that builds giant crosses.
Yeah.
Clearly. I mean, we knew this.
Yeah.
But down in Australia. By way of Perth.
Oh, no.
There's a proposal to build an absolutely enormous 10-meter tall crucifix next to the Kwinana Freeway.
Wow.
And
10 meters, huh?
10 meters.
10 whole meters?
It's just gigantic.
How tall is that in real people terms?
It's like probably, 33 feet? Right?
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere around there.
So maybe not quite as enormous as
it's huge.
200 footer that's going up in Corpus Christi, but
no. Well, I mean, if there aren't a lot of other super mega tall crosses around, right?
Yeah.
Then this is a fucking big cross.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, for the last 4 years, Nick Smargiassi.
You just made that name up. You can't just make up names, Frank.
Has been lobbying the Shire of Murray.
Oh, they have shires?
They must.
Okay.
That's really adorable. For permission to erect a steel statue of Jesus hanging on a cross.
Oh, so this isn't just a cross. This is a proper crucifix.
This is a crucifix.
Okay.
Yeah. With the words, God bless you on the freeway.
Well,
and
that's
this
nice.
It's on his property. It's right along the fence line.
Yeah.
But the local Shire has rejected his plans.
What?
They're denying him permission.
Why?
Well, it's close to the intersection of Manjugordap Drive, where there's a number of main roads directional signs already in place, according to Steve Lee, who's on the council. I'm sure that a majority of councillors are certainly not against having a crucifix or a cross monument. It's just that
they're worried that it will distract from the signs.
There's directional signs, right? Oh. There's posts with
they're thinking that Jesus will be pointing people in the wrong direction.
I believe that's the point.
How do I get to Perth? Jesus, you can help me.
It's that way. Or is it that way?
My son, go one of these
Choose
two
one.
ways. I can really only point left or right. You can just choose which one you want to go.
Much like the Scarecrow. He doesn't know quite which way to Perth.
It's a Scarechrist. Is what it is.
I'd have a bad crow problem down there in the Shire of Murray.
The Shire of Murray. It just sounds like there's a Jewish hobbit. This is the Shire of Murray. Hi, I'm Murray. Welcome to my Shire.
But so this is from Mr. Smargiassi.
Yeah.
I've had enough Okay, I can say to my God, I did my absolute ultimate best to put up the sign, but unfortunately and sadly, the demons are winning as far as I'm concerned, and there's nothing I can do about it. This is the end of the road for now.
Oh, well, no, it's not. As we know, that road actually goes on and has several signs at the end of it.
At least two different directions.
Points off into... All right. Well, that's a shame. I'm going to give another update.
Good.
I think we've talked about this, and this has happened multiple times where states in the United States, mostly in the South of these United States, have attempted to make the Bible their state book.
Yes, yeah.
Most recently, it was Tennessee, where both chambers of their General Assembly just passed a bill that said designated the Holy Bible as the official state book.
Thank God. They're doing the Lord's work.
They are doing the Lord's work. They're not doing the people's work, which is what they were hired to do, but they are doing the Lord's work. This happened despite the fact that the Attorney General of the state, one Herbert Slattery, which is also a name that I made up, apparently, warned
I've
them
heard that name before.
Warned them not to do it because it would violate both U.S. and Tennessee constitutions. Even their own state constitution, their attorney general said it would violate.
Okay.
Well, the resolution is this. I'm not going to use the word resolution. Phase 2 is that the governor of Tennessee, one Haslam, one Mr. Where's his first name?
Bert.
We'll call him Bert. For now, his name
Bert
is...
Haslam.
Oh, Governor Bill Haslam has vetoed the bill. So there you go. However, this might not be the end of the road because the bill was vetoed, but the Assembly could override the veto if they wanted to. All they need is apparently... majority.
Oh, that's it?
Simple majorities in both chambers would override the veto.
Well, that's not much of a... Like, isn't that the same amount of people you had to get to vote for it in the first place?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, that's a bullshit system.
Yeah.
You need more. It's you gotta find more people to vote for it. That's the whole point of it.
How dare you question Tennessee's state assembly rules?
That governor effectively doesn't have a veto.
Right. Well, they have to do it again, which means that they have to go through the trouble.
Well,
so
yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
The governor has hassle veto,
a line item hassle veto.
Right? Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The veto has occurred. We'll see if they attempt to override the veto, which honestly, it's so great for Tennessee to have that be their state book.
Yeah.
First of all, I almost don't care because what the fuck does it mean? Does it matter what the state book is? It's just improper.
With such a shitty veto, I think they deserve the Bible as their book.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Ongoing stories happening left and right here.
Well, I have an ongoing story as well.
Oh, thank God.
In the sense that the Pope is still alive.
He is.
I have
two of them.
I have some Pope news. Yeah, there are still two popes.
Yeah, we got two popes.
Benedict hasn't died yet.
He never will.
Well, anyway, there is a skull cap that was worn by Pope Francis.
Oh, yeah.
Up for auction online right now.
Ooh.
It's a part of a fundraiser. They're expecting to bring in about $35,000, of which they will donate a large part of the proceeds to a children's charity. But what's interesting about this is the question came up: how does one get their hands on a skull cap? Right? Did Pope Francis donate this? How did this come about?
Mustn't he?
No.
Okay.
There is a tradition of I guess pilgrims or anybody who really wants to. When they go to Rome, they can go to any number of shops, clothing shops, that sell like sort of religious attire.
Wow.
Right? And they'll have these Pope-style skull caps.
Okay.
In just droves.
Sure.
And so you're able to buy one.
Like a tourist trap with like wacky-do things.
Yeah, they probably have lots of crucifixes.
Dressed like a cardinal.
Little I don't know that that's what they're doing. I think it's more
It's a Halloween supply store.
No, I think it's legitimately for the truly religious.
Oh, okay.
Who and so they buy one of these skull caps, and then they go to sort of an appearance of the Pope. Right.
Sure.
They go to St. Peter's Square when they know that the Pope's going to be coming through, and they wave the skull caps.
Oh.
And on occasion, the Pope will exchange his for one of theirs.
What?
Okay, so this is a long-standing tradition.
Okay.
And then that person has this sort of super fantastic holy thing.
Best memento ever.
Yeah, that was on the Pope's head.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of smells of Pope head.
Yeah.
You know?
Barbitol and Vitalis or something. Barbasol? Yeah, I don't...
Well, anyway, normally these items would be cherished by the individual, but this person has donated it to this auction house to run this special fundraiser.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's being so. But this is, I also learned something new, which is all of the Pope's clothing upon death becomes a relic,
Right.
and therefore is not available for purchase.
Sure.
So they're billing this as this is a quote from the auction house. It says, "This auction is a unique opportunity for museums, collectors, and devout Catholics to acquire a relic in the making."
Yeah, I guess
Right?
so.
So it's a pre-relic.
It's a prelic.
Yeah, you can purchase this and have it as your own relic,
I just want to know, like,
which normally you wouldn't be able to do.
first of all, I assume that they have a way of validating this, or
There's a YouTube video.
I see. So, but the other thing to me is the. So wait. How much is it? How much are they starting the bidding at? Does it list an estimated value?
I don't know about that. What I know is
Okay.
what they expect to bring in.
Okay, which is what?
Which is $35,000.
$35,000. Wow, $35,000. I don't even care about the money. It is now a new bucket list goal of mine to get a hat from the Pope. I'm going to buy one of those replacement hats, and
A zucchetto.
I want a hat. Hey,
Okay.
Pope, I want a hat, and I'm going to wear it under my bike helmet wherever I go. I'm not going to sell it. That's mine. That's my relic in the making.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to have to spend a lot more time in Rome now because I need that hat.
All right. Well, there you go.
Any listener willing to go out and help me get that hat, I will gladly share it with them on a timeshare sort of basis.
I don't know about that, Dan.
I need a Pope hat, a real honest. I'm going to buy a mitre, and I'm gonna not the skull cap. I'm going to buy a full on, like, the big giant hat,
and you're going to wear that,
and I'm going to wave that around and be like, Popey, come on, swap me out.
If it was Benedict, you'd have a better chance.
Tag me in. Oh yeah,
Because he would have been wearing it.
Right. Well,
right?
if it was Benedict, I would buy like some Prada shoes or something, and I'd be like, I got some new ones, Popey. These are this. I got that new shit right here, baby. You need this. Oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. All right, I'm going to move on to from the elegance of the Pope to the elegance of rural Alabama, down in the southern part of Alabama.
I love rural Alabama. It's picturesque.
Where there's a report of a woman who basically she's a daycare entrepreneur. She has opened several child care centers.
Okay.
And has these child care centers, and she keeps doing it. She's making good money off of it. The problem is that she's horrible at it.
Okay.
She's been one worker called the warehouse where she set up a daycare a quote house out of a horror movie.
What? Okay.
She opened one next to a porn store.
Okay.
Like decrepit places. She's been said to have hit children with fly swatters, locked them in closets, and wrapped them with rulers.
So this is all fine and good. How does this tie into
she gets away with all of this?
Okay.
Because she's a church.
She's a church.
Her organization has listed itself as a church, has been recognized as a church. They are Christian daycare centers, and as such, in Alabama, as with several other states, avoids pretty much every regulatory oversight.
Right.
She basically
that makes sense.
Doesn't have to put up with anything, and she's collected at least $86,000 in taxpayer funding to run her daycares.
Oh, my God.
She doesn't need a license. She doesn't need a curriculum or any qualified workers. All she has to have is a building with a roof. So
it's doggy daycare for your kids.
Believe me, I know pet owners. They would not subject their pets to this. I've never met a pet owner who would allow their dog to be treated this way.
Oh.
But the problem is that she doesn't charge people a lot of money.
Okay.
So, desperate parents who can't afford daycare, because we're talking about the rural South, there's no money.
So, and clearly, she can afford to charge less because she doesn't have to go through all these regulatory things. She doesn't have to pay qualified people.
And she gets state funding. So yeah, apparently that's a thing that's okay in this country because Jesus.
Yeah.
Welcome to America.
Yeah.
Child, young person, welcome to America. This is where we treat you awfully because of Jesus.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Proud of us. All right. Proud of you, Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
And the 16 other states that will give you a pass on
them.
Regulation if you...
Yeah. It's kids. That should be the most heavily regulated thing ever.
Yeah. Licensing is important, folks.
Yeah.
So
Religious
there you go.
Exemptions. My God. All right, Dan.
Yes.
I've got news for you.
Yeah.
Okay. This comes direct from Sarah Palin.
Oh, good.
Okay. She dropped a bombshell the other day and outed Bill Nye as not being a scientist.
What?
Yeah, it's true. She says Bill Nye is as much a scientist as I am.
Oh.
She said during a screening. I assume after a screening. I hope it wasn't during the actual screening of...
She's just blathering through the entire screening.
Climate Hustle.
Oh, yeah.
A documentary by climate change denier Mark Morano. He's a kids show actor. He's not a scientist.
Yeah. He's a science guy. Does that count for anything?
Bill Nye, he has real scientific achievement that he can chalk up, and he's been a science educator for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so he has... What degrees does he have?
It's a mechanical engineering degree.
Okay, so that's the science says.
It's in the sciences. But
all he does is point out what the science says.
Right.
He doesn't claim to have done the science himself on climate change.
Exactly.
He just points out what the absolute 100% consensus of the scientific community is, or 99.99% consensus.
But he has served as both the vice president and executive director of the Planetary Society,
right?
And was part of the design team behind sundials that were used in Mars exploration rover missions. I've heard the man speak. He's got some chops. You know, and so
Yeah.
for her to be like, oh, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's as much a scientist as I am. No, I've got news for you, Sarah Palin.
What's amazing is that she discovered a truly mean insult. He's as much a scientist as I am. Like, she actually intuitively understands that comparing someone to her is a rude thing to do. That's what's amazing about that.
Yeah, her level of lunacy is...
But I have to say, like, she's kind of right. He's not a scientist.
Well,
like, that's not...
in the truest sense of it. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't spent time in a lab doing science, and
he's a science reporter
he's a science geek.
/
science reporter. That's probably the best way to describe him. But she's using it in this way that's like totally dismissive.
Right, of course.
Well, he couldn't possibly know what the fuck he's talking about.
Right.
It's like, well, I don't know that that's... And I also love that he's a kids show actor. Right. That's all he is.
He's an actor.
Bill Nye.
Well, now she's insulting my profession by calling him an actor.
He's an actor as much as I am.
He's an actor. Wait, no, he's not. I actually studied and have been professionally acting for...
Well, I would say she actually is.
She's
an actor.
Well, she's a
performer.
She's
Maybe
a performer.
not an actor.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm going to go... my first story was about the Bible. I got another story about the Bible. Which kind of buries the lead a little bit, but that's okay. A new report has come out from the American Library Association, which they release apparently every year. Is it? The United States, the most challenged book list.
Oh no!
It's a list. So they list books that people have raised objections to.
Huckleberry Finn.
In terms of
Catcher in the Rye.
Inclusion in a school library or whatever. And the Bible has made the list.
Oh dear God.
It's interesting. So banning books is a touchy subject.
Oh yeah.
It's a bit of a slippery slope. Not really a slippery slope. That would be a logical fallacy, not a thing, not an actual thing.
Yep.
But most books are challenged by parents because of things like sexually explicit scenes in a book or language, or a lot of times it's like, but
they just don't like it.
That has gays in it, or that has black folks in it, or whatever, and then but they come up with another excuse or whatever.
Right.
So, but the Bible objections are kind of the opposite end of that scale, usually. So a lot of parents apparently are objecting. These are people on our side who are objecting because this is erroneous. They believe that it's illegal to have the Bible in a school's library because it violates separation of church and state.
Right.
Well, the library includes it as literature. So
right.
I don't agree with that objection. I think that it's actually legal for them to have it. However, here's the objection that I find very valid and very interesting. It also gets objected to oftentimes because of violence and explicit, like rape and all of that sort of thing.
Oh, no, that's interesting.
I find that to be totally valid. That book's horrific. Awful things happen in that book. So if you're going to object to other books because of violence, you probably should object to what's in that book.
Yeah.
Because it's awful.
Yeah. No, there's horrible things. That's a great tack to take.
Yeah.
With trying to get the Bible out of your kid's school library.
Yeah.
If that's something that's important to you.
Right.
I don't know that it would be terribly important to me.
No, it's not to me either. But
I've got the Bible on my bookshelf at home, as well as a Book of Mormon.
Right.
I have the Sacred Scriptures.
Yeah.
The Jehovah's Witness Bible.
Sure.
I think that's what they call it.
I've got the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why
I don't have a Quran.
I don't have a Quran either. I was just trying to think if I did, and I don't.
I should get one, but I hear that it's even more boring.
There's
than
a
the Bible.
2-for-1 special right now Amazon. Maybe we could...
There you go. Boom. Quran it up. Anyway, here's another interesting one that made the list. This one's right in front of the Bible. Mm-hmm. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
What is that?
I don't know the book myself. I haven't read it.
What is this dog up to?
Well, it's curious. I do know that much. This one has been objected to for these reasons: offensive language, unsuitable for the age group, and the one that I think is really the point: atheism.
Oh.
I think that
interesting.
There are also several books that are things like, gay books. There's one called Beyond Magenta that I think is about transgenderism with kids.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then there's one called Nazrene's Secret School, which is a picture book, I think, or a children's book. It's based on a true story about a little girl in Afghanistan who tries to get, education.
Well, that sounds nice.
People don't like it because religious viewpoint, violence, and, quote, references to Islam.
Jesus Christ, people. I mean...
Or Muhammad.
Yeah, just keep building up that bubble around your kids.
Yeah. Another one called Two Boys Kissing. Of course, 50 Shades of Grey is number 2 on the list. That doesn't belong
That probably does not belong in an elementary school library.
Or even maybe in a junior high school or even a high school. I can see that's fine. Get it somewhere else. John Green's new book, Looking for Alaska, is number 1 on the list. Because I think it must have some sex scene in it.
Well, the problem is...
Oh, and it has drugs/alcohol/smoking.
Well, you got in the way of my joke, Dan.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say that the trouble with it is we know where Alaska is.
Oh, right. We found it.
We've already found it, Dan.
Okay.
That'd be my objection.
Well,
just
good.
The title.
Good. You figured it out.
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I know right where it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Books being banned for atheism, books being banned for Christianity, books being banned for queers. It's all banned. Ban it all.
No more books.
No more books. No, yeah, exactly. Only
coloring books, and then that's even dicey too sometimes.
Yes, indeed.
Just magazines. No, that doesn't work either.
It's all movies.
It's movies.
It's just Disney from here on in.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, okay. Well, if you'd like to join our conversation, maybe suggest some books to be banned.
Yeah.
You can do so by emailing us. Ooh. The email address is podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Sure. Or you can call in.
Yeah.
Add your voice to our show. By dialing on your telephone 424-666-8442.
That's correct.
That's 666. That's the number of the devil. TGIA.
That is correct. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Right, and go to the seek out in the search part of the Facebooks, the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Indeed.
And someday I'll get around to looking you up and stuff.
We're going to take a quick break. This is some of that Jim Baker. That's 2 Ks in the middle there, in case you're confused. And, he's got this buckets of food he sells, survival food, right? 3 years worth.
He's gonna keep you alive. But there have been complaints. It's clear.
Yeah.
Where the fuck do I put 3 years worth of food buckets? so he's going to help us out with that.
This is his answer.
You're taking care of your family. You can stack them in your garage. You can put them in the basement. You can put them under your bed.
Yeah, in your closets, anywhere that you have space for it. Get creative and start stacking these in your home, keeping this food in your home accessible to you and your family.
Yeah. One of the things we've done around here, we stick them under coffee tables and end tables. You just stack them up and then put a cloth over them.
Yeah.
Or get a piece of, cardboard or a piece of plywood, and you make a top. And then you just stack this food. You could have your whole living room with end tables and coffee tables made out of food buckets. Just do it.
Yeah. Then after that year as well, to the Middle East, you'll be sending 600 days of food. So that's 3 years of food for you and 600 days to the Middle East.
It's an attractive living room. They show the whole setup. It looks so good.
Under your bed. That's the one that gets me. Because I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever seen a 5-gallon bucket of anything.
It's like a big bucket of paint.
Right, yeah.
That's the size of bucket we're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know which bed you can fit that under. Maybe you have to you have to make an entire platform just with the 5-gallon buckets.
Yes.
And then just plop your mattress right on that.
Right on. Yeah. Well, a lot of people like the high bed thing.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So that's a given. Like that one makes a lot of sense.
Here's what you
me.
do. You make a stairway going up to your bed out of buckets.
That you could do that too. Yeah, you could do multiple tiers of buckets that way.
I think
that you put your mattress on.
I think these guys need to they need to start just making entire homes out of buckets of food.
Well, what they really need is they need home builders to start thinking about the needs of Christians,
right?
When they build their homes,
the bucket,
right? You need a large bucket room,
yeah, right, exactly, or just places in every room. Because look,
little nooks.
When the apocalypse hits,
yeah,
you don't know which rooms of your house are going to survive. You need buckets of food.
Decentralized bucket storage.
Yeah.
Yes.
You need one in every room. You need 2 or 3 in a bathroom. 2 or 3. You got to have your buckets ready.
Yeah. And don't keep all the fettuccine Alfredo in one room.
Oh, no.
Spread that around the house.
Well, fortunately.
Otherwise, you're going to wind up for the next, however long you survive the post-apocalypse, eating nothing but fettuccine Alfredo.
Right. Well, what's funny is that so I looked this up. I looked up his buckets food thing.
Bucket of food,
because I wanted to know. And fortunately, he's one step ahead of you, Frank. Each bucket contains like pancakes and fettuccine Alfredo and black bean burgers, and like every bucket has a list of different things in there.
This is very different from the food storage that my parents had.
Well, they're
buckets of food.
They're Mormons are more. The Mormons do it differently.
Yeah.
They all. I'll bet your parents had wheat. And
we had wheat.
It's like
my mom would ground the wheat. She had a little mill.
She had her own grinder.
She would bake homemade bread.
Okay, so she actually knew how to do it.
Oh yeah. She rotated through.
I feel like 90% of the Mormons that have buckets o' grain wouldn't know the first thing about what to do with them if they ever had to. If the apocalypse came and it came time to like bust out the wheat, they'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you just eat it, or what do you do with wheat?
There was one time when she tried to make a side dish out of just wheat, and it didn't really work very well. But she did do that. I'm not making that up.
Just sprinkle it on your salad. It's wheat. It's good for you.
You'll notice this is not like some health food trend that's out there.
Right.
Just mainly probably because it's chock full of gluten. But
it's counter to the current trends.
But she made this nice little dish of, and it was just wheat, and it was just like, and it was super squeaky. It was like chewing it. It was not a good idea.
No.
But that's my mom. She gets in, she just
I like
experiment.
I like it. It's creative. It's trying. She's just trying stuff.
This was pre-YouTube.
She's got 5 gallons of the shit. What is she going to do?
She had more than 5 gallons of wheat.
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
Oh my God.
Well,
they had so much of that crap.
Our friend of the show, April.
Yeah.
Inherited a 5-gallon bucket of wheat, which I think is just sitting in her garage. Surely it is rancid by now.
That was part of her inheritance?
Well, like, not her parents haven't died, but they like divvied out wheat and giant parcels of bulk food to all the children's.
We're concerned for you.
Yes,
April. Here you go.
Well, my own in-laws offered us food storage for Christmas one year.
Oh dear God.
Which I'm just glad that they said that they knew us well enough to know better than to just give it to us.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, we're giving all the kids food storage. Do you want food storage this year?
Yeah.
And we were like, nope.
Cash check, please.
How about a gift certificate to one of these 5 restaurants?
Yeah. Now, I will say this, and all the making fun of it, up to 72 hours, of like a little survival kit is really smart.
Makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense because,
Sure.
like here along the Wasatch Front, we could have a big earthquake.
Right.
Knocks everything out. You're going to need a little bit of some supplies around.
Sure.
To get you through to the point where, hopefully the feds show up with tanks of water. And
exactly. Until you can get out or FEMA can get in.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense to have a few days worth of supplies.
Yeah, but anything beyond that is just tiptoeing into,
Cuckooville.
Land. Yeah.
Yeah. If you go beyond 72 hours worth of food, I mean, if you want to get a week's
I'll
worth,
give you 96 hours.
you can do a week. I'll give you a full week. If you've got a full week's worth of food, fine. You'll feel prepared. You'll feel safe.
Right.
If you go beyond that, what the fuck are you thinking is going to happen? And really, you think you're going to survive that event? The event that's so cataclysmic that nothing will get to you after a week?
Exactly.
That's the event that you're going to survive.
Yeah. Watch out, folks.
No, you're not going to survive that event.
Yeah. Just get it over with. Die now.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one you don't want to survive.
You survived the shit. Well, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to. Whatever it is, you don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Walking Dead. I'm watching the new season of Fear the Walking Dead. I watched the first episode.
Ooh.
And do you really want to be out there on the boat, out in the middle of the ocean? Is that what you want?
Nope.
With pirates abounding? Oops, I hope no spoilers.
Oh dear. There are spoilers.
Come on, you had to know that was going to happen. And aqua zombies, that was a good one.
What?
There's dead people floating in the water.
There's more spoilers. More spoilers. They're happening left and right, everybody.
Okay, I'll have to put a spoiler alert in the... No, I didn't give anything away.
Okay. You did use the word aqua zombies. I'm just going to point that out. Everybody's like rapidly like fast forwarding. Please make it stop. Well, we did have some people communicate with us via the intertubes and the calls and the whatnot. So I'm going to get to that. We had some more people. We had another person commenting on our story about Mormon women and their boobs, their fake, all the plastic surgery that happens here in Utah. This is an email from Tracy who says, I found your podcast when our family of four left the LDS Church in 2012 and my atheism was awakening. In the discussion regarding Mormon ladies and their new boobs, you covered the perfectionism and the crazy pressure to be attractive Mormon wives feel very well. However, you left out the issue of polygamy and its long-reaching effects into the Mormon woman's mind. And I think another caller last week did sort of cover this, but I like how Tracy talks about it. She says, I can tell you from my own experience as a Mormon wife that women are often worried about the teachings that they will be sharing their husband in the afterlife.
My God.
Oh, boy, do they worry about it. They won't discuss it as they can't bring themselves to face it. However, it's in their minds. How does this relate to new fake boobs? The poor ladies want and need to be the first choice always. If I'm the hottest wife, I'll be my husband's favorite wife in the celestial kingdom.
Oh my God!
There's an unpinning. There's an unpinning of competition. I think underpinning of competition between Mormon women always.
So wait. You get to take your plastic surgery with you?
Well, that's what she's...
In the resurrection?
She brings that up because, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand that the Mormon idea of resurrection is that you are given your perfected body.
Yeah.
So, if your arm got cut off in the war or if, something bad happens, you get a perfected version of your body in the afterlife. So she says, this thinking always baffled me in connection with plastic surgery, though, as these ladies won't be resurrected with big fake tatas, puffy lips, lipoed tummies, or lifted tushies. Okay. How could they possibly believe they will have their new boobs in heaven? Maybe they think that is their perfected body.
They're just working on it.
They're helping.
Hey, God.
They're helping God.
Heavenly Father, look at this. Look at these guys right here.
Obviously, God, you made a mistake when you gave me B cup boobs.
Yeah.
Look at how great I look in D cups.
I ordered these in. They're great, right? This is what I want.
This is a perfected me right here. Also, these lips and the Botox I would like to keep as well.
I really don't. I do not want to be able to move my forehead for eternity. My forehead can be perfectly still, as long as it is
I don't need
lineless.
facial expressions in the afterlife. I need no wrinkles. So there you go. Did we have we had a voicemail, didn't we?
We do have a voicemail.
Hey, fellas. This is Jesse from Denver. I have been seeing some reports lately about a Mormon business leader called David Hall. He's bought some land up in Vermont near where old Joe Smith was born, and he's planning to build a utopia called Zion, or I guess based on Smith's writings from the 1800s about a place called Zion. And apparently it's going to be pretty huge and pretty utopian. So I was just wondering if you guys could share some details on, like, Mormon culture. Is this a thing that Mormons in general believe in, or is this business leader David Hall a crank? Or have you ever even heard of David Hall? Anyway, it'd be fun to hear what you guys think. Thanks.
Well, first of all, Jesse, you're pronouncing it wrong.
Oh,
it's not Zion.
Well, that's true. We're talking about Mormons now, so
it's Zion.
Zion. That's if you come
the
to
official Mormon pronunciation.
If you come to Utah and you go to the national park, Zion National Park,
not Zion's.
I used to have a friend who was from Spokane, Washington.
Oh yeah,
and she used to pronounce it Zion National Park, and every time she did, I would correct her, not by telling her the real pronunciation, because she knew that's how it was supposed to be pronounced, was Zion. But I would just say, "Oh, cool! Tell me about Gonzaga University."
Oh,
because it's pronounced Gonzaga.
Oh,
They're insistent.
Right.
So she would say Zion, and I would say Gonzaga.
It's like Nevada.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anywho, so we did read a little bit about this thing that's happening, that theoretically is happening in Vermont.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like he's pulled some permits, if I remember right.
Yeah, he's trying to make it happen.
Yeah, but I think the gist of Jesse's question is this sort of typical, is this normal Mormon behavior to sort of go back to like Joseph Smith's plans for Zion and everything.
Like, this idea is, just so people understand, this guy wants to build a community in the middle of nothing that houses
picturesque Vermont
with with housing for 20,000 people, offices, gardens, 48 basketball courts, and 48 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Yeah, that's the part that confuses me the most. Even more so than the desire to build this utopian thing. What the hell do they need with 48 Olympic-sized swimming pools?
Swimming
for 20,000 people.
Yeah, well,
that's a lot of swimming.
Yes, it is. Big swimming pools, too.
Olympic size.
Yeah.
They're huge. It's the gold standard of swimming pool.
Here's the thing. There's a long history in Mormonism of wanting to have your own space away from everybody else.
Yes.
Now, this is historical. We're not talking about current Mormonism. This is historical Mormonism. So Mormons, especially in the early days of the Mormon Church, bounced around from place to place. They kept getting in scuffles with the locals, and
because they were bad neighbors.
They were very, very, very bad neighbors. So they kept getting into trouble, which is why they all left and moved to Utah eventually. In the end, which at that point they were trying to get out of the country. This was part of where you and I sit was part of Mexico at the time.
That is true.
And then a year later, it was part of the U.S. and they were sucked back in. But yeah, I mean, there's this sort of exclusionary strain through Mormonism, and then there's this also like this sense of like creating a utopia. Mormons love that ideal, and if you don't call it by what it is, Mormons today, even like conservative Utah Mormons, will speak fondly of Orderville.
Oh yeah, I've been through Orderville.
Orderville was basically it was a social experiment done by the Mormons in Utah in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Late 1800s.
And
when it got
it
going.
was essentially pure. It was basically communism. All of the grain that the farmers got, all of the crops, all of the everything went into the central, was organized by the church and distributed by the centralized organization.
Yeah.
So it was communism.
It purely was. Yeah.
There was no
They were
exchange of money or anything.
There's a reason why it was called Orderville.
Right.
They were living the United Order,
which is a Mormon concept
that we've never really talked about, have we?
Maybe not. Maybe
I don't
that
think we've ever talked about the United. We may have to bring that up.
United Order. Well, let's
write that down.
I'm writing it down, but I'm never going to look at this until next week.
I will put that piece of paper someplace where you'll see it this week, Dan.
Anyway, maybe we'll talk. Maybe I'm not promising anything, but maybe we'll talk about
or
that.
put a reminder on your phone.
I don't have my phone.
That's what you do.
Well, you've got your phone right there.
Okay.
Anyway, so the United Order was basically Mormon communism, and so yeah. There's a whole bunch of there's this weird streak of idealism and utopianism in Mormonism. A lot of isms. So anyway, yeah, that's all we have to say about that. I'm going to go to another email real quick. This is from Elizabeth. Hey guys, I just found a Reddit post that discusses the peculiarity of Utah/Mormon names and links to a website that is dedicated to this topic. They theorize that there are so many common last names that people need to use first names to differentiate themselves. One of the things that I enjoy about your show is little snippets that we get of Utah life and what it is like to live amongst them. I would be very interested in knowing what your thoughts are.
Was this the Utah? Oh, sorry.
Unique names.
Was this the Utah baby namer?
No. This is a website. She's sent a link. This is a website of a blog basically that has just collected Utah names.
Okay.
And you got it. It's great.
It's amazing. If it's
because
the one that I've
here's
seen.
the thing: Utah names, Utahns have, and Mormons have a history of their own making up their own kinds of first names for their babies.
There are different sort of patterns to it, and one of my favorite patterns is the merging and blending of the mom's and dad's name.
Oh,
right. So you might get if the mom's name was I don't know, Brenda, and the dad's name was Dan, right? The child could be Brendan, right? Like they just fucking make up crazy. They like the Lavon and
Laverne, Levan. So Lavelle Edwards was the coach of the BYU football team for the longest time, and now the stadium's named after him.
Yeah.
Lavelle.
Yeah.
So this website, it's very cute, and maybe I'll have we'll have a link put up on the Facebook page or something.
Well, and isn't there
but they break it up into their favorite. They have a page that's their favorites.
Okay.
And they break it up into categories.
Yeah.
And these are all apparently bona fide things that people named their kids. Mormon people named their kids. Cashley, that's the worth of a soul.
Oh God, that's bad.
Lavoid. Astralina. These are here's some astronomical ones. Luna, Lunia.
Okay.
Solinda. Starl. Some ones that reference Mormon history itself. Camorra Hill.
Oh,
her last name was Hill.
Oh no.
Palmyra, Liahona, Ensign, Nauvoo.
Yeah.
These are all.
Are there creative spellings as well?
Oh, they're really good creative spellings.
One.
Yeah. Let me see if that's a category in and of itself.
Well, and they do the thing of naming kids after well, no, I guess not.
They name their kids after almost anything. So there's they'll name their kids after the place where they were born.
Right, yeah.
So there's Alpine, Texas, Arizonia,
no,
Montana,
no, No.
These are all apparently bona fide. A lot of Dawn stuff.
Yeah.
Dawne, Dawnia, Donnell,
Yeah.
LaDawn, LaDawn, Ludon, Dawnetta,
Yeah.
Sunny Dawn, Dusty Dawn, Kadon. I wonder if there's a Badonkadon, but I don't know that there is one.
No, like I've known, I know a few people who've had kids recently, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's actually kind of a rash of people having kids at work at the moment, and there's this labor of like finding the name, and I don't really work in like a very Mormon setting, so we don't get a lot of that, but there's still, like there's this trend to like go back to old names and kind of classic, Ruths and Graces and sort of those, kind of these older names.
Sure.
And so one of the women who's starting to get quite pregnant was like, oh, have you, been thinking about names? And she said, well, if it's a boy, Thomas. And I'm like, thank God.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Thank God that you're just going with a name, like a real solid name. And that's what I said to her. I was like, wow, that's a solid name. And she's like, yes, that's exactly the point. Like, she's like, none of these like crazy names. I'm like, good for you. Awesome.
And then she said, and if it's a girl, Zestpool. Which is one of the names that I just picked out of this thing. Yeah, I don't know.
She'll be cesspool her entire life. Well, at least all the way through middle school.
Right.
Oh.
Anyway, there you go.
Terrible.
Yes,
it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. I don't know how many of these are I can verify, but
see, that's the thing.
But the thing is that
if you make up the name, it is a unique name for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Until there's, Cesspool Jr.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway, thank you for writing in and calling y'all. So here's the thing.
Yes, Dan.
We need to talk about this whole flying spaghetti monster business.
Yeah. An interesting thing happened this week.
Yeah.
A federal judge dismissed a case that had been brought before him by Stephen Kavanaugh, who he's in the middle of serving a 4 to 8 year term in prison for assault and weapons charges in the Nebraska State Penitentiary. Mm-hmm. And the name of the judge is John Gerard. Anyway, what Stephen Kavanaugh is asking is for his observance of Pastafarianism, or the flying spaghetti monster faith, whatever.
Right.
That it be recognized and that he be allowed to observe it in prison.
To wear the garments of the religion.
Exactly. And if you don't know what those are, it includes a pirate costume and a colander
on your head.
Atop your head, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, if people don't know the background of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, there was a thing that happened. I think it took place there. It was a response to when they were trying to get intelligent design into the schools in like Kansas or whatever.
That's correct. Yeah.
And whoever the guy that started this wrote a letter saying, well, we want equal time too. We are the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Right.
And if you're going to give equal time to all of the creation myths or creation stories, then here's ours. And just wrote a crazy bunch of shit.
And it's amazing, and it's very funny, and it caught fire,
and people just
spread,
glommed onto it. And so then he made it an actual, like, he filed with the IRS, and he made it a religion.
Yeah.
And it's all over the world now. And and one of the things that people do is they, like, if they have joined the religion, they filed, or they request to wear a colander on their head in their pictures on their driver's licenses, that sort of thing. So it's been, and that's been approved. Like, people have been doing that all over the world.
Right, but this judge isn't going to have any of it.
Right, the judge has ruled against him.
Yeah.
And not just against his desire to wear the pirate clothes in prison, which I get that. No, you can't wear pirate clothes in prison. But also...
But more importantly is you probably can't wear the colander.
Right.
I mean, come on. Like... They are making concessions to other religious folk, most likely, at this prison.
Yeah.
Right? To probably wear, maybe a
yarmulke
or some kind of, robe or whatever.
Maybe.
Who knows? Who knows what concessions have been made? Probably some facial hair stuff and whatnot.
Maybe.
But nonetheless, this judge has said nope.
But more important than that is that the judge has said that this is not a religion. That's the big thing.
He's reached out to do that.
What the judge has said is that the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is in fact satire and not an actual religion.
Right. Which we all know.
Here's the thing. I totally agree with this judge.
Well, yeah.
It's just satire. It's not a real religion. And anyone who's a member of the religion knows it's not a real religion. It's a comment on religion.
But what about that IRS filing?
Well,
what this does though is it brings up the question of what does it take to be a religious body in this country? And if you have practices like the IRS recognizes the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Right.
Because they qualified for tax exemption. So now we have a judge saying something very different.
Right. Well, the IRS is a bunch of scaredy cats. I'm guessing that ever since they were bullied by the Scientologists, they're just like, well, I don't know how many people you got. Sure, fine, you're a religion. I don't care.
Yeah, but nonetheless, what is the qualifier?
I don't know.
To be a religion.
I guess one of the quotes from the judge is that he says, "This is not a question of theology. It is a matter of basic reading comprehension. The FSM gospel is plainly a work of satire meant to entertain while making a pointed political statement. To read it as a religious doctrine would be little different from grounding a, quote, religious experience on any other work of fiction. A prisoner could just as easily read the works of Vonnegut or Heinlein and claim it as a holy book, and demand accommodation of Bokonism or the Church of All Worlds."
He references to the actual books.
Right. I think that's true. I mean, so he says there's a line has to be drawn somewhere. It's not always as an easy line to draw.
Right.
But there must be a line beyond which a practice is not, quote, religious simply because a plaintiff labels it as such.
Well, but here's the thing. It's not just the plaintiff who read Vonnegut.
Right.
This is a little disingenuous on the part of the judge.
Well, this is bigger than that.
Because there is an organization.
Right.
And that they have professed beliefs. And you can join it. And they do have tax exempt status.
True.
It is a thing. Now, we understand. I'm fine with it being satire. I'm fine with it being a fuck you to the establishment. Right? And I understand that it's not...
Can your religion be fuck you religion? Why
not?
Can that be a religion? Maybe that's true. Maybe fuck you religion is some people's religion.
Right.
So, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the religion of the Satanic Temple is fuck you religion.
Yeah, and this has implications for the Satanic Temple as well.
It does indeed. So, I mean, I agree that it's only satire and it's not religious in any kind of traditional sense of what a religion is. Mm-hmm. But maybe you can't just dismiss it as not a religion.
I don't think that you can, I mean, the judge makes good points. He goes through this, and it's in some ways hard to argue with it. But on the other hand, I'm not so inclined to just say that this judge can be the arbiter of what is a religion and what isn't a religion. When this group has qualified,
has gone
according to our the mechanisms that we have in place in this country,
the legal processes to
become a religious group. They have done it, they have qualified, and now this judge is stepping in and saying, no, you don't qualify. It actually seems really dangerous
Yeah, I think that...
I think it's something to watch.
It's tricky. It's tricky, yeah. I mean, I think that the membership thing...
Because you know what? I would like to be able to dismiss certain religious groups as what they are, as cults.
Right.
And as, I mean, the Branch Davidians should not...
Or whatever
back
they're
in the
called
day,
now.
whatever they're called now. But back in the day, they should not have been an official religious group.
Right.
Yeah,
if you've got
But I don't feel like
30 people.
I just feel like that's a really dangerous road to start going down, picking and choosing which ones get to be and which ones don't get to be, because it starts to water down this freedom of religion that we have in this country, which allows for separation of church and state.
Right. I think that that's probably the case. I think that this is probably an overstep on the judge's part. I think the judge is absolutely within reason to say no. As an inmate, you can't dress like a pirate. And frankly, here's the other thing that I'll say.
That's what he needs to shut down, and he's trying to figure out how to shut it down.
Right. Here's what I would say. If I were in prison, I'd be filing lawsuits like this all the time because
pass the time.
I would be so bored. It would just be like, what can I do? I want to dress like a pirate. Warden, let me dress like a pirate. It's my religious belief.
Yeah. But you know what? There are probably other inmates walking around in their religious garb. They've been granted that privilege.
Some garb, yeah.
Something, right.
One has to imagine that a Sikh man in prison can't carry his little sword around.
Right. There are going to have to be some controls and some things that you're not allowed to do.
Right.
Right. But at the end of the day, these other prisoners are allowed to have some individualism. They're allowed to break out from the pack based on their religious expression. And in a sense, that's what this guy's trying to do. He's trying to he's probably going to get beat up for it.
Right.
But, isn't there there's still room within a prison for people to express their own deeply held ideology.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what religion is, and that's what the atheism is. And he's expressing his atheism, I assume atheism, through the flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know.
It's tricky. It's tricky. The thing, and you know what? The judge even brings this up. He says, of course, there are those who contend, and Kavanaugh is probably among them, that the Bible or the Quran are just as fictional as those books, referring to
Cat's Cradle,
Vonnegut, and
yeah.
He says, and that's where he says it's not always an easy line to draw. So yeah, I would contend that, as a matter of fact, followers of Christianity and Islam, well, maybe not Islam, but followers of Christianity would surely claim that the Quran is a work of fiction.
Yeah,
surely. You can't say that just because you don't believe that it's true,
right,
means that you can't that they can't claim religious status.
And you can't look at newness, and I don't think that you can look at even intention, because the intention of these other religious groups and their founding was very different than it is today.
Right.
Yeah,
who knows what the intention?
So this guy, he's saying that he belongs to it, and this is his expression of it.
I wonder if Jesus was started as a parody, and then it just spiraled out of control. Like, there were all these guys who were like, this is doing a parody on Judaism and everything, and then it just...
A little troupe. Theater troupe.
Couple people took it more seriously and changed the stories a little bit because they liked them better when they were a little nicer and blah, blah, blah. And then it just spiraled.
Yeah.
And now it's this big thing.
Yeah. Who knows?
Can't tell. We weren't there. Anyway, if you have anything you'd like to say about your church that you attend regularly, I guess, because all of our listeners are regular church attendees, or about any church, let us know. You can write into us, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail. 424-666-8442 is the number.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge.
Yeah, thanks to Mackenzie for all of her lovely work on the social media.
And thanks to a few new donors on Patreon.
Oh, yeah, we got to get to...
Oh, crap,
good.
I almost forgot.
Woo!
We have John and Kirby, our new donors.
Sweet.
So thank you, guys.
Sweet.
That's really nice of you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Appreciate it.
Nice pledges.
If you want to also be part of making this all happen and possible, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the Patreon button, or one of the donate things, and you can donate to us, and we become very appreciative of that.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club
for all of their fine music, and thank you, dear listener, for tuning in.
Bye.